Hello and welcome to GAYSIANS, a PRIDECAST.
Hi, I'm Jason the Gaysian,
And I'm Ariana the GAYSIAN.
live from my bedroom.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get started with our current events.
Yes.
The first current event that we would like to talk about is happy belated Father's Day to all the dads out there. By the time you guys watch this, it will be Monday or like any day of the week, and Father's Day will have passed, but still important to shout them out. And also, happy Juneteenth, belated Juneteenth. If you don't know what Juneteenth is when slavery was effectively ended, when the last slaves in Galveston, Texas were freed by Union soldiers after 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation
Yes.
in 1863. So it is a very, very monumentous American holiday for the entire country. So if you didn't get to celebrate it this year, don't worry about it. Celebrate it next year because Juneteenth is forever.
Yes. Yes. Our second current event this week is that Donald Trump was completely clowned by TikTokers and K-pop fans. He had a rally this past Friday.
On Juneteenth.
Yes. Yes. And a lot of Zoomers reserved tickets that they never planned on using for his rally so other people couldn't show up. And that's incredible. Nice work, guys.
And that's on being a clown.
Yeah.
The last current event that we have is about Yemen. So if you don't know what's happening, Yemen is currently facing the biggest humanitarian crisis the world has ever seen. They do not have the money, the food, the resources, the health, the medicine to provide for themselves at all. They're in very, very, very bad condition. Honestly, just Google Yemen right now, and like you're gonna see like horrific pictures. If you haven't already seen them on Instagram or anything or Twitter. So please, if you have anything to spare, please donate to them. Please bring attention to them because some people still don't know what's going on. And yeah, please help them in any way that we can. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that is it for current events, which means it is officially my favorite segment on the PRIDECAST, which is what's the most Gaysian thing you've done this week?
Well, besides show all of our viewers my closet, the most Gaysian thing I have done this week was my sister bought this skirt online. If y'all know the website Shein, it's very cute for very cheap. So she bought lots of stuff. And she bought this really cute skirt. So it was like one of those skirts that like it didn't really have like a set size. Like you could just tie it to however like what your size was.
Mhm.
So you better believe I snatched that real quick and tried it on. And yeah, I spent the better part of the next hour literally dancing with my new rehearsal skirt. I'm kidding. I'm not going to use it as a rehearsal skirt, but I did love being in the dress or the skirt, and it made me feel very gay. And I am Asian, as is my sister.
Yes.
So therefore, I felt very Gaysian.
Also, Asian website.
Oh, is it?
Mhm.
Period. Period.
Yeah. Okay. So the Gaysian thing that I did this week is not so much Asian, but I saw my girlfriend for the first time during this crazy pandemic, and it was wonderful. And it's Gaysian because I'm Asian, and she came to my Asian household. So
Yes.
yeah. So shout out to
Shout
my
out.
girlfriend.
Shout out to her girlfriend. Are we gonna drop the name?
Oh my God, I didn't ask her. Maybe next time. We gotta see.
Maybe next time we'll reveal her identity. If you want,
Drop a comment down below if you want to know.
if you want us to reveal Ariana's girlfriend, drop the comments down below and like say take your guesses.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Okay. Gaysian or okay, that wasn't even a technical difficulty. I'm just a dumb bitch. Jason. Would you like to introduce this week's topic?
Yes.
Okay.
This week's topic is very near and dear to our hearts. And if you know either of us personally, you know that we talk about it a lot
We do.
because it is very important to us.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get to it.
Let's get into it.
Theater is racist. What are the thoughts that come to your mind when I say those words?
You know, the umbrella of the topic, you know, we talk about all the stuff that goes on there a lot, the two of us especially. But I think for me, what I'm most passionate about in this area, and also because unfortunately I've had a lot of personal experience with it, is casting white people in roles that were meant for BIPOC actors. Would you like me to elaborate on that, or would you like to
Yes, please.
Okay, all right, so here I go. So as a Hispanic woman, I have had the privilege to be a part of 2 different shows that were written for Hispanic people. Great experiences, honestly. I did love them, and I had the opportunity to also work with a lot of other BIPOC actors, which is a really special experience. We really created a family, and it was a really great experience. But unfortunately, in both of those shows, the female lead in both was played by a white girl. It's always something that bothered me. And I think for a long time I was just like, oh, well, it wasn't written for them. They don't understand the Hispanic experience. And for me, being that both of these shows are actually set in New York City, I am the daughter of a man who is the son of Puerto Rican immigrants, and he grew up in New York City. So both of these stories about Hispanic immigrants that are in New York City, just hit really close to home to me. You know, hearing stories about how my dad grew up, it's just
Your family story.
yeah, and it's a story that I've always been able to relate to, even if it hasn't 100% been my experience, although I do have experience being a Hispanic person. So I was so happy to do them, but it was incredibly invalidating to have to do that in the background of a white actress, you know, who's doing things that, I'm sorry if this is too much, but it's brown face, like getting spray tans, applying too much bronzer, curling your hair and making it frizzy, or wearing a wig, or spraying brown hair color into your hair because you're a blonde. It's incredibly insulting. So I'm watching that and watching them be like, oh my God, Ariana, I'm just like you now. And it's like, but are you? Yes. Yes. Oh, or like, oh, I can curl my hair and it makes it look like a natural curl. Like it's, like making your curls big and frizzy. Like that's not, it's insulting. And I've seen productions of West Side Story done in the area too, where Maria wore a black curly wig. It's just incredibly insulting. Especially in Rochester, there are ample BIPOC actors that you have in your pool to cast from. And actually when we did West Side Story, she's saying I feel pretty in English because she couldn't pronounce the Spanish, and all of the shark girls saying in Spanish behind her. Like that's just, it's insulting. But I guess what it comes down to for me is that, to me, these roles aren't a costume that you put on. For me, being a multiracial person, it's who I am every single day, and these girls get the privilege to play roles when there are so few that are written for us. And then when they go and leave the theater, they get all of their white privilege immediately. It was never really taken away to begin with. It was actually, you know, it's the reason they get to play these roles. And then, you know, every single day I still deal with prejudices, you know, with uncomfortable situations because of my race. And the other thing is, I'm very privileged. I actually haven't dealt with too much, and I'm lucky for that, but I know that that's not the same for everybody. So it really breaks my heart when there are Hispanic girls that have never been able to be a part of any of these shows, and a lot of white people have.
Talk about it, because what happens is, like, because of the decisions that are made that put those actors, those non-melanated actors in those melanated roles, it literally, it affirms the very core of the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a disaffirm. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, West Side Story is about racism.
Right.
How you gonna put a white girl in the POC role?
Right. That's what the show is highlighting. So what does it even mean if you're going to have a white person playing the part? It's like, that's the point of the show. And I talked about this actually with my mom, because I was like, I get that what I specifically advocate for can seem confusing, but it's not confusing at all, because I advocate for color conscious casting. That means that I don't want you to do colorblind casting. I want you to take people's heritage and race into consideration when casting, meaning that if it is a show that deals with race as a topic, if it's a show like West Side Story, like Hairspray, cast it appropriately. That's what the show is about. But if it's not, then who cares? I get that people are upset because it's like, oh, well, you just, like, it's not enough for you to have the shows that were written for you. Now you want to do Carousel too. But I want you to think about the ways that as a person of color that I might be able to bring something different to this role. Or if it has nothing to do with race, then why does it matter? And honestly, that means, like bottom of my heart, if a white girl is better than me for a part, cast her. If it has nothing to do with race, cast her. That's fair. But there is no way that a white person could be better suited to play a role that is for a person of color. There's just no way, because they haven't lived it.
There's absolutely no way in hell. It's cultural erasure. It's cultural appropriation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I did a production of Thoroughly Modern Millie last summer.
Yes.
And in doing research for the show, my parts were very. I have done those kinds of shows before. I did Anything Goes about two years ago now. Not a good experience, but my point is, a lot of the times, because those are the only two POC roles in that entire show, specifically POC roles, a lot of the times they will be played by white actors. And what it does is, not only do you perpetuate what you do is perpetuate the stereotype of what you think a person of color is. Because you, as a non-person of color, have literally no access, first-hand access, to what a POC actually.
Right. You're just gonna play to the stereotypes.
Yes, and like every production that I researched that had a white actor playing my role, I was Ching-ho. It was they did like the stereotypical like the prayer hands with the head bobbing, and like the very loud, very bad Chinese pronunciations. And I'm not Chinese, I'm Filipino, but you better believe I work my ass off, you know what I mean, to honor that culture. And like, because I am Asian, I do still have some way in to said culture,
right.
You know. And I correct me if I'm wrong, but that's exactly what they were doing. They're doing their bad Hispanic accents. You know what I mean? They're doing their little macro aggressions by being on stage. Period. Acting like the Hispanic Jezebel, or like the, you know what I mean? Like the submissive little like POC girl. Like that's really what they end up doing. And it fluctuates.
What kills me is that also in these situations, like, I am usually told, like, Ariana, can you make that more ethnic? Or like, can you make that more urban for me? And it's like, like, I don't want to do the stereotype that you're asking for that the white person in the lead has been doing because they don't know any better. But I would like to, like, I played Carla in the Heights. I loved that show. I loved being in that show, but looking back on it, like, there was some messed up things that happened. It was a long time ago. Like, I get it. I'm not mad about it. But, like, but being told to, like, that my accent wasn't very good, or being told to be more Hispanic, it was like, no, you want me to act like Daniela, who, you know, her character is written to be sassier, spunkier. Carla is a little naive, kind of ditzy, just talks about Jesus a lot. Like, that's not, like, on paper, to me, that wasn't all of, she didn't need to be sassier.
Because to be honest,
she was. And as a Hispanic woman, like, I mean, sometimes I guess I'm sassy, everybody is, but, like, that's not my truth. It's not every Hispanic girl's truth. Like, there are nerdy Hispanic girls. They're, like, just like everybody else.
that's the thing. Like, what is more urban?
Right.
What the fuck do you mean? At the casting director that may or may not watch this, please explain what you mean by saying more urban, because if
Okay, technical difficulty. We're back. Jason, you said at casting director. Go.
casting directors, I promise you, if you were to explain by exactly what you mean by, what do you mean by more, like, by acting more urban or more ethnic, you would probably come to the realization that what you were asking for and what you were saying is inherently racist.
Right. And it's just enforcing stereotypes.
Like,
You're not
it's
actually
just,
giving me direction.
how can you say that someone is not ethnic enough? Like, exactly. How can you say that someone is not ethnic enough? I'm showing you my melanin right here. You're saying, like, this not enough for you, bro? Like, you know, my features, my entire being is not, I don't sound the way you want me to sound. How does that work?
And it is
Does that work?
invalidating to my experience as a person of color. Like, that what I have experienced is not enough to be ethnic enough for you right now.
Because what they mean when they talk about being more ethnic is to literally fulfill those stereotypes.
Right. And why? When there's so
Like,
many beautiful parts of all of these, like, I mean, the shows are not perfect by any means, especially the ones written by white people. But there's a lot of beauty in these shows too, and it's like, we can highlight those instead of whatever stereotypes you want me to fulfill for you.
yes, because inherently when a POC show is written by by white people, of course they're all automatically, they're not going to have that firsthand experience and that firsthand storytelling that a POC would have had. You know what I mean? The reason why Hamilton and In the Heights have so much heart is because Lin-Manuel Miranda is speaking from his heart. He's speaking directly from his experience, growing up in New York City, growing up as a Hispanic American. You know what I like? It's because what happens is when white people write the roles, oftentimes they have this white savior complex. Miss Saigon is very heavily criticized for having said white savior complex because what it does is it makes the Asian American submissive to the white American. You know what I mean? Kim needs her Chris. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You know what I mean? Like, Kim never needed a Chris, ever. But that was the show because the white people were the ones writing the show. And I'm not going to lie. Hello, we're back with another recovery from a technical difficulty. You love to hate us. Anyways, so I love Miss Saigon. Being in Miss Saigon in high school was one of the greatest theatrical experiences of my life, learning about the Vietnam War and all that happened. But I can't deny the structure of the show. You know what I mean? Like, I can't deny what it does to the actors, because I was doing research on this topic, and the history of POC shows started with minstrel shows 200 years ago, right? So what would happen is these white men would go into blackface, and oftentimes they would have the white guys in blackface and then one white person not in blackface. and then that white person would be like the only person on stage who would act correctly. He would be the one kind of taking responsibility and kind of being that shining light to guide the people of color on stage. And what that translated to, like minstrel shows translated to vaudeville, which still featured blackface, and then vaudeville transitioned to book musicals like Showboat or the next show and the next show and the next show, which may not feature blackface, but it still puts people of color in those positions by not enhancing but enabling those stereotypes. Like in Showboat, a lot of the black characters, if not all of them, enabled some sort of stereotype. Like it depends on the ethnicity, but like for Asians, it's like the stereotypes within Asians is that Asian women are either to be sexualized or to be feared. Like there's the dragon lady stereotype, and then there's also like the sex pot stereotype, and then with men, it's like Asian they have this concept that Asian men are very weak and very submissive, you know?
Right.
And it people try as hard as they might, but you know what I mean? Like when producing new material, it's you have to realize, especially if you are a white person talking about a non-white issue, that you're automatically going to enforce that because you have no idea what it is like to walk those shoes.
Right.
I mean, that's automatic, and like you can't really. I mean, that's how it's been. You know what I mean? Like for a lot of like we are just now getting into this phase in musical theater or in theater in general where a lot of people are saying like it's trendy to be ethnic. You know what I mean? It's a lot of white actors are mad nowadays because apparently ethnic people are taking their roles when it was our roles to begin with.
Right. That's a good segue for us, Jason. I think we should talk a little bit about how you can be an ally for BIPOCs in the theater community as a white person. Like what can you do to be an ally, to be a better ally to your peers?
I think you should start by literally educating yourself on musical theater because there's this one tweet that sticks out to me, right? So Laura Benanti, Broadway legend, Broadway diva, she tweeted, I think Jimmy Fallon. She had like a little interview because way back when coronavirus started, she had this kind of call to action for like all the high school students who got their musicals canceled because of coronavirus, right? And it got a lot of attention, a lot of clout. So Jimmy Fallon had her on the show, and what she said was, there are very few things in our culture that are very, very purely American. She said it was jazz music, apple pie, baseball, and musical theater. She said that musical theater is very purely American. I don't know that those were her words, but like that was her gist, you know. And I think what was American about it was the racism, you know. And American musical theater, like we just said, started from the racist minstrel shows that put these POCs in like down and put the white people up, as many things in our country have. So I think to answer the question, we really have to acknowledge our past. You know, we have to be cognizant of what has already happened, because although minstrel shows are a thing of the past, hopefully, I'm not sure if whatever, but like it's not, the stereotypes that people are enacting are still happening to this day. You know what I mean? Like the stereotype, it might not be as clear cut as acting like a slave, I guess, but like now it's become the sassy black girl trope, the sassy black girl that can sing trope, the sassy Hispanic girl, the fiery, sexy Latina trope. You know what I mean? Right. That's what it's turned into, and at least it's insulting. At worst, it's dehumanizing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we have to know where we came from to know where we're gonna go. You know?
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think?
This goes along with the whole color conscious casting issue. for me, it's you should be a way to make sure that people of color are getting the roles that they deserve, that were written for them, that are getting the opportunities, is to make sure that you don't play these roles. Now, a lot of times people come to me and they say, Ariana, oh no, I'm getting called back for Hispanic roles. What do I do? And I say, well, are Hispanic roles on your resume? If so, take them off. I understand that you're proud of them. They're good roles. I get that. People will assume you're Hispanic. Take them off. Don't sing material that was written for people of color. The music in these shows, don't sing them at auditions. And then you need to actively decline callbacks when they're given. I promise there is work out there for you. I promise, like, this isn't going to be your only shot. And it sucks because, especially as a young artist, like, you want to take every opportunity you're given. You're trying to build a career for yourself, and I understand that. But if you're going to be an ally, you need to understand that this is a way that you can help. And you got to do that for yourself. You got to know what your morals are.
You don't, yeah, exactly. You don't have to take something from somebody else in order to get ahead with yourself, because you're stepping on other people. Like, there's always this trope about like actors being backstabbing and like out to get each other, and like in my experience that hasn't really been that true. In our school at Montclair, it's a community.
Very
you know what
loving.
It's very loving. It's very supporting, and I consider ourselves lucky. But at the end of the day, like, you really don't have to take anything from somebody else to foster what's already inside of you. You know what I mean? Like, it's the work is there. You know what I mean? It's very, there's something for everybody. That's the beauty of theater and art. There's literally a lane for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like that's part of the issue is like people are like, oh, well, it's like trendy to be a person of color right now. Like they don't want to cast white people anymore. And I just like, that is just so not the case. Like if you look at casting, like I promise it's not the case. Like Hamilton didn't change the world. It made a really big step in the right direction. It definitely made people be seen differently. Like I don't think like I remember when I went to see Hadestown, I cried during the opening number just because I couldn't believe how beautiful that the stage was with all of these people that were so diverse and so talented and just like, and telling a story that it just didn't matter like what they looked like. They were just telling the story and doing a good job. They were doing their job. And you know, if Hamilton walked so they could run, Hamilton did that. They cast people in a non-traditional way. But that doesn't mean that white people aren't going to get cast. Like, you guys are still going to get cast. And here's the thing. As a person of color, I don't get to decide to be white for a day if I think a director's only going to get to cast a white person. It just won't work. I straighten my hair. I look Asian, maybe not Hispanic, but, like, I don't get to be white for the day. So please do not decide that you are going to be Hispanic for the day to get seen for a role, because that's your privilege. That's your white privilege. We don't have that. I don't get to decide to be white for a day. So know that we as people of color, I think, are already making a lot of those sacrifices, or not even sacrifices. It's just like forced upon us that you have to understand that not everybody is going to see you outside of a stereotype. And we deal with that because this is our passion and we love it and we love doing what we do. And it's not that we hate it. It's just that there are things that need to change.
It's a labor of love. You know what I mean? And especially when we were planning our showcase. Oh my God. Big news, y'all. Ariana and I are planning another showcase with the students at Montclair, the students of Live and Live in Color.
Live and Live in Color Collective.
Yes, it's going to be a virtual cabaret. It's called the Rise Up Cabaret. And all proceeds / donations go directly to Movement for Black Lives. Just to give a little insight on that organization. It hasn't necessarily gotten a lot of attention as it should have, but what they stand for is basically very decisive and very direct action against police brutality and putting the power back into the people and the community. A lot of organizations that we've researched had made those promises, but they were very, very clear about what they wanted and how they were going to get it. And honestly, it reminded us about it reminded us of us. You know what I mean? Because us and in our school community of the musical theater program at Montclair, you know, we were very team oriented, and we were all in it together. And that's exactly what Movement for Black Lives is about. So stay tuned to the Rise Up Cabaret.
Yes, make sure, guys, go follow the Live in Living Color Instagram. It's livein.livingcolor. We'll be posting updates on there. There's more information. There's some fun videos to check out. We've got some exciting guests too. So definitely go check that out. And you know, come watch, donate if you can. It's going to a really great cause.
Yes, yes, please. And that's another way to be an ally. If y'all really want to put your money where your mouth is, start by, well, a lot of these cabarets are coming up right now, and so, you know, we're not really doing anything. We're still technically in quarantine, so whenever you have a spare minute, go to those webinars, go to those college cabarets that are going on right now, because
have conversations with your friends too. I think just like talk to your friends about this. I've had some really great conversations with my white friends over racism in theater. I have really wonderful friends who are willing to listen to me when I rant. But they're really great, and it's good to have conversations with people that, you know, they don't have to be confrontational. It's just that we can have conversations that are educational to really just show each other where you're coming from, and this is how we learn and how we grow as a community.
Yes. At the end of the day, theater, and what I believe it stands for, is the fact that it represents everybody. Mm-hmm. There's literally room for everybody. It's just a matter of making that room, you know? So if you truly consider yourself an artist, then make room, you know? It's about the love, I feel like.
Someone's success doesn't have to take away from your success.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Is that all that we have?
Yeah.
Today?
Do you wanna talk about the resource that you found to wrap it up?
Okay, so this resource that I found about everything that we've been talking about, especially about the stereotypes and the history of musical theater, it was from howlround.com, and it talked about basically the beginnings of the American musical, like I was saying, about from minstrel shows to vaudeville to the book musical to what we have now. It's very, very informative. It's one of those things where I knew blackface was a thing back then, but I didn't know its effect on I guess my career and my lifestyle, my chosen lifestyle. And I don't know who out there is of musical theater as well. But it's very, very informative. So we're gonna include that in the description below. So make sure to check that out.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, we're gonna see you next week. Thank you so much again for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
Turn that notification bell on, guys.
Yes. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. We love you.
Thanks for watching and listening. We love you guys. Oh no.
We're done.
Sorry, we love you guys. Okay, bye.